investigators will finally get the confession they've been after.
And he said it was done.
As Neil Woodman's murder trial looms, his convicted brother Stuart is looking to make a deal.
Jack and I got a phone call that Stuart wanted to talk to us.
As she continued to follow the saga of the Woodman brothers, author Faye Kellerman was in for one last plot twist.
A cautionary chapter straight from the Bible, a modern-day Cain and Abel. The wall of silence was crashing down, and Stuart had a story to tell.
Mr. Woodman has been represented to us through your counsel that you wish to make a statement in this matter concerning the murders of Gerald and Vera Woodman. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Stuart Woodman agrees to tell all in exchange for a life sentence in a federal institution.
The meetings weren't, how's the plans on the murder going? It was never what it was like.
Stuart Woodman sits down with detectives and finally tells the story of how he and his brother Neil conspired to kill their parents.
And he said it was done.
It was amazing that during this whole time that he conspired with his brother to murder his parents, to cover this up, to live the lavish life that he did, to all of a sudden just disregard his brother and to put him in prison for the rest of his life. That, to me, was ironic.
Neil talked to Steve a lot more than I did. Neil told me this is what it's going to cost us. Neil's always hated my father. My father and Neil haven't gotten along since they were teenagers. He was a teenager. It got much worse years later. I mean, whatever mistake was made, it's my stupid son this, my stupid son that. He's a bum, he's lazy, doesn't know what he's doing. That's how it was almost on a daily basis like that. And Neil put up with it. For the life of me, I don't know why. But he did.
The brothers' hatred towards their father was no secret. And soon their friend, Stephen Hommick, hatched a plot.
And Steve had brought up the problem with my father. And that's how it came about, to where he said, let me take care of it. You won't have that problem anymore. I mean, about a week, 10 days later, he came back and asked where they were living and what some of their habits were. That's when I realized that he was serious.
And before long, so were Stuart and Neil. Their father's fate was sealed. And according to Stuart, Neil decided to have Vera killed as well, to aid in the cover-up.
I think he felt if they just did my father, it would point much more to us than if they did both.
And you told us that.
After working tirelessly on the case, all of Detective Holder's theories and suspicions are finally confirmed.
These cases are a puzzle, and you put one piece here and one piece there, and pretty soon, if you're lucky, you get the whole puzzle. You knew who murdered your parents?
Sure. I know some of the people that were there. I don't know if it was everybody.
And they were murdered on your behalf?
My brother's on my behalf, yeah.
And you paid money to have your parents killed?
Yes.
It's a chilling confession, but Stuart does express remorse at one thing: the death of his mother, Vera.
I just got hurt over my mother. I mean, it really affected me. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did.
Prosecutors already have a strong case against Neil Woodman, but it's Stuart's testimony that seals his brother's fate.
When you're a homicide detective, you think about catching the culprits that did it. But it's that one thank you from the family. Thank you for doing your job well. That lasts with you forever.
The greatest tragedy is the death of two human beings, especially Vera Woodman. They killed her father for hatred. That's one thing. They killed her mother for money, and that's a totally different thing.
Despite his protests of innocence, Neil is sentenced to life without parole. 5 years later, he runs into Michael Dominguez in prison.
He gets tapped on the shoulder, he turns around, and Neil is looking in the eyes of Michael Dominguez, the lookout guy from the day of the murder. And Michael Dominguez says to Neil Woodman, "Hey man, what are you doing here? You really shouldn't be here, should you? You didn't do this. As a matter of fact, you were next on Stuart's hit list."
The jury has already sealed Neil Woodman's fate, but he still has at least one defender.
I firmly 100% believe that Neil is not guilty, had nothing to do with it.
Everyone else involved in the case, the detectives, the prosecutors, family members, and journalists, all see it differently.
They were two brothers that stuck together until the waters got rough, and then all of a sudden, where's my ship, because I'm getting in it.
To me, the Woodman case was an LA crime story gone terribly wrong. A tale of greed, conspicuous consumption, along with an obsession for having it all, even if it meant paying with your soul. For Murder by the Book, I'm Faye Kellerman.